can't believe it's been over a month since we got the keys to our new residential property and moved in. How time flies. Anyway, in this video, I will dive into the nitty-gritty details of our first month's expenses as homeowners here in the UK. I will break down all our expenses to give those looking to buy a house in the UK an idea of how to budget for their first month's expenses as house owners here in the UK. And if you are curious about the first month's cost of owning a house here in the UK, stay tuned. Now, towards the end of this video, I will share some tips and tricks on saving money on utility bills. All right, so let's jump right into it. Our first category is electricity and gas. And in our debut month, we spent a total of £156.41 on that, which was slightly higher than what we used to pay when we lived in our rented house. Although the number of people in my household has stayed the same, I actually foresaw that we'll be paying a higher electricity and gas bills as we now live in a much bigger house than the house we rented. I mean, larger spaces require more energy to heat, resulting to increased expenses, so that was expected. Now, if you're curious and you want to see the house we bought, I will leave a link to my house tour video I did on our property, so you can just watch that. Next up, water bills. For the first month, we spent £38.56. Now, in the UK, water bills vary depending on usage and most importantly, depending on the location, because the domestic water rate here in the UK depends on a region's water availability and size. So I was unsure what to expect as we moved from Greater Manchester to the Midlands, but after comparing our water bills with the previous bills we got in Manchester, I noticed that there were similarities to what we used to receive when we lived in our rented house in Manchester. Surprisingly, our council tax for the month was £0. Yes, you heard me right. We did not pay council tax for the first month because our local council has yet to evaluate the value of our house and assign our property a council tax ban because it was a new built house. So until that is done, there is no council tax payment for now, but I'm sure they will accumulate all the ones we've not paid and then we have to pay it together. But the good thing with council tax is they spread it out for you to pay, so I don't think that would be a big deal. So speaking about council tax, we had to pay £64 to our local council to get the 3 bins. So here in the UK, you normally have 3 bins for your property, so where you put all the rubbish in your property, and every other week the waste collectors will come collect it. So in the UK, you normally have a black bin for general rubbish, and then I think a blue bin or a burgundy bin, depending on where you live in the UK, for paper and for plastics. And then you would have a green bin for food waste and for garden waste. So basically, you normally need 4 to 3 bins. In our local council, we just need 3 bins, which is the black one, the burgundy one, and then the green one. But when we were in Manchester, we had the burgundy one, we had the black one, we had a blue one, and then we had a green one. So in Manchester, the burgundy, you would put the plastic, and the blue one, you would put the paper. But here in our local council, you put your paper waste and your plastic waste and your for paper waste and all of that in the burgundy one together. So basically, that's how it is. And if you're renting here in the UK, you don't need to buy it, or if you're buying an old built house, maybe people who lived in that house or the former landlords can just give it to you. But if you're buying a new property, the developer will not give you, so you have to buy it from the council. So that's why we had to pay £64 to buy the 3 waste bins from our local council, just in case anyone was wondering why we're buying bins. And me being the detailed and organized woman that I am, I had to pay £6.50 to have our address written on the 3 waste bins. So how I did this was that I got our house address printed on stickers from ST, and I gummed it to our waste bin, and it looks so good. I'll put a picture now on the screen for you guys to see. Now the picture are not the pictures of our bins because obviously our house address is written on the bin, but similar to what I did, I'll put it for you there. In short, the same thing I did. I just went on ST and I found the vendor and I just did the same thing and then put it on the bin, so it was good. Now, for those wondering why I did, apart from the fact that I'm just detailed and organized, I did because having our address on our waste bin will help our neighbors avoid mistaking our bins for theirs, and to also help us avoid mistaking our neighbors' bins as our own during bin collection days. Also, it will help the waste collection team know which bins belongs to our house during bin days. Now, onto the boiler maintenance cost. Yes, in the UK, you have to maintain your boiler so it doesn't break down. So for our boiler maintenance, we subscribe to an insurance maintenance plan to the company that made the boiler for a regular maintenance, just to prevent major issues down the line and to save us money in the long run. So we will be paying £7.56 monthly to ensure our boiler is in top-notch condition starting from the first month, which we did. Moving on to feeding, we spent around £400 because we had to buy food in bulk. I'm sure if you have watched my moving checklist on what to do when you're moving into a new house, you would know we would do this, because I mentioned in that video that you should buy a lot of food so that when you get to your new house, you'll not be hungry and tired, because packing is exhausting. Food is the least of your worries, and you don't want to spend money on takeaway, because you just bought a new house, you spend so much money. So you need to buy food in bulk. Although we bought food in bulk, we also had to patronize our local food grocery shops around us, because there were one or two things we needed and we just buy like egg and milk, so we're just buying that one as we needed it. But for the main things, we bought them in bulk. Actually, food from the African store, we bought them in bulk, so that's why we spent that much on feeding. Likewise, we spent approximately £750 on transportation. Now, this included our moving cost and regular transportation cost. And that reason why our transportation cost was that high was that since we are yet to own a car, we rely heavily on taxi, as we find it uncomfortable to travel by public transport, like using the bus, especially in winter because it's always cold. So that's why we spend more on transportation. Although I've not felt the need to buy a car for a while, but I am beginning to see the benefit of having one, because for a long time we lived in the city and transportation was good and our proximity places was not that far. So if we needed to go somewhere, we can even take Uber and it will be cheap, because maybe it's just like a 10-15 minutes drive. But now that we're living in the Midlands, our proximity to places is not like the best like it used to be when we're in Manchester. So we are spending more now on transportation. So that is why our transportation cost was that high. And now that our proximity to places is not the best, I don't spend much on taxi. We are seriously considering getting a car, because for a long time we didn't see the need to get a car. Since my husband and I moved to the UK almost 3 years ago, getting a car has not been a priority. Paying for visa was a priority. For our skilled worker visa was a priority, because we came on a student visa first. And buying our house and paying for our house and getting settled was a priority. So maybe that's why we've not really considered a car, because before now we did not consider having a car as an essential thing. But now we're going to see why we need to get a car. We're going to see why we need to get a car fast. Moving on, we spent £13.59 for our unlimited home internet. So that's for our broadband. So this brings our first month expenses, apart from our monthly mortgage repayment, to drum rolls, £1,436.62. Now, when it comes to our monthly budget, we need to have things like personal grooming. So that's me doing my hair. But the day I went to do my hairstylist was so kind and sweet. I told her I was leaving Manchester and I might not be patronizing her for a long time unless I come to Manchester area. And she was like, okay, she did my hair for free. So she did my hair for free. So I didn't have to pay for that. And my husband would normally barb our son's hair and his hair, or I'll barb our son's hair if he's not barbing his hair that time or something like that. Now, before I forget, why our home broadband was like £13.59 was because we moved houses and it took them time for them to come and set up the new broadband in our new house. So for about 2-3 weeks, we could not use our home broadband. We didn't have internet, but our service provider gave us like a mini hub. So we had to use the mini hub. The mini hub was very terrible. Like when I want to upload YouTube videos like this, it was so slow. It would take me like the whole day to upload YouTube videos. It was really slow. So just give us that one for free, and just give us internet on my phone for free so that we can be using it. So we didn't have to pay for internet for almost 2-3 weeks. So that's why our internet payment for our home Wi-Fi was that low. But on a norm, we pay about, I think, £34.99. Now, if I watch the video to this point, it can only mean one thing. It means you find this video valuable. So give this video a like, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and share this video with someone who will find it beneficial. Now let's talk about top proven tips for saving money on utility bills in the UK. The first tip is to set a realistic budget for your utility and stick with it. You see, tracking your utility expenses helps you to identify areas where you can cut down on cost. In addition, monitoring your utility bills can help you determine if there are any fluctuations in your expenses. And the information you get from monitoring your utility bills can be used to make Informed decisions such as switching suppliers if you feel you can get a better rate somewhere else, negotiating for a lower deal with your supplier if the bills are beyond your budget, or you can even make a lifestyle change. Like maybe during winter when it is cold, instead of on your heater, you can just wear like thick clothes or drink hot beverages so that you don't spend too much on gas and electricity, just to reduce your utility bill. Now for tip number 2, implement energy saving practices to reduce electricity and gas bills. Simple habits like turning off your lights when you're not using it, unplugging electronics, and using energy efficient light bulbs can make a significant difference over time. Additionally, washing your clothes with the washing machine at a lower temperature or with eco setting can contribute to reducing your utility bills, and fixing leakage can also contribute to a substantial savings on your utility bills. Tip number 3 would be on water conservation. Now, when it comes to water in your house or your water usage, you want to fix leakage if there are any water pipes leaking in your house. You want to install water saving devices and be conscious of water usage in keeping those water bills in check. Also, refrain from leaving the tap running when you're brushing your teeth. Some of us, we do this and we need to stop it so that it can help us save money on our water bills. For tip number 4, you want to invest in preventive maintenance for your house systems, like getting maintenance insurance for your appliances, especially the boiler, because if your boiler should break down and you don't have this kind of insurance, it can cost you a fortune. Getting an insurance for maintaining your boiler might seem like an extra cost, but it can save you from major repair expenses in the future. Tip number 5 is all about upgrading to efficient appliances. You see, old appliances can be energy vampires, sucking up your electricity and increasing your bills. So why not consider investing in appliances with high energy efficiency ratings, such as those with an A++ label? Over time, the savings on your energy bills will often outweigh the initial investment of purchasing those appliances. Up next, let's talk about smart thermostats. These nifty devices allows you to control your heating and cooling system more efficiently. They learn about your habits, adjust the temperature based on your preference when you are home, and when you are not home, they can regulate themselves and turn themselves off. Some of these smart thermostats can even let you control them remotely via a smartphone app, resulting to a significant savings by avoiding unnecessary heating or cooling when you are not around. Like the one in our house, when we are not around, we can always off it from our smartphone, and when we are at home, we can even control it from our smartphone if we are lazy to stand up. And that quickest way to save on your utility bills is by regularly reviewing your utility bills and exploring different plans between suppliers to ensure you get the best value for your money. You see, in the UK, the energy market is competitive and better deals are often available. Use comparison websites like USwitch or GoCompare to find the most effective options for your energy, gas, and utility bills. Also, do not hesitate to negotiate with your service provider or switch service providers to secure the best deal for your needs. So here you have it, the breakdown of our first month expenses as homeowners here in the UK, and top proven tips I use for saving money on our utility bills here in the UK. Kindly let me know in the comments if you have any money saving tips on utility of your own, or you can ask questions about managing home expenses, and I'll be happy to answer your questions. Or if someone who is watching this video have an answer to your question, they can also answer the question for you. With this, we've come to the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and stay savvy with your savings.